The action never stops at the 2021 New Zealand Ultimate Championships at Ngāpuna Y Sports Hub in Christchurch. We've got DogMay versus WildCats from Wellington. WildCats have the lead-up tournaments. Predicted to be in the finals, but still humble and focused. Again, we've seen Tom Fraser in the handler space for DogMay. Some great cuts developing downfield. The pace of this game is so significant. It's the first game of the day for these teams. Some great clean disc movement on display by DogMay. Putting a long bomb up, it's got a lot of legs to it. Wellington WildCats over Canterbury's DogMay. What a shot. So WildCats will take possession. Some great movement by WildCats. Nicholas Whitlock playing out number 4 for the Wellington WildCats, doing some great work in that movement, but covered immensely well by the number 36. Leo, Riley Van Turnhout. Great work up that far sideline for yet every single one of WildCats' wins has been 15 points. Now, they have played against DogMax and DogMay, the two Credo teams already. Both of those games going 15-8. Well, a great pull there by WildCats, hoping for their 4th point of the game. Back-to-back breaks. Great chase there. Look at the separation as they establish that defense. There's the long shot up. Both players trying to get a read. So we'll see the replay there. And opportunity now for DogMay, very close to their own end zone. Thomas Fraser to pick up. Puts one out comfortably into space. Minutes into the game, so an average of about 2 minutes per point. Some very high-paced ultimate here. Great work by both of these sides. WildCats in the lead by 2. Great fielding of the pull there. Haberfield. Center field. Hogg in wide open space in that downfield. A high blade to keep the disc alive. Haberfield working through that DogMay zone, working around the DogMay zone. We see number 21 as well, Joe Penaya Smith, Mr. Consistent, who absolutely loves working through that zone offense. Just loves getting involved, that little tic-tac game. Connolly, number 8. One of the handlers who did such a great job helping lead Equilibrium to victory in the Division 2 Mixed Ultimate Championships held last year in November. Threading one straight through. Some clinical disc movement here. Very good work by WildCats. Patient, not forcing anything, having to work against a great zone on display by DogMay. Trying to shut down the space. Hammer goes over the side. Finds Hoban. Haberfield responds with a hammer back across the field. Not a lot of dynamic play here. We're not seeing a lot of movement downfield. There's nothing really developing. Players having to work. DogMay as WildCats go up in our men's semi-final. Currently being played between WildCats and DogMay. Off stream at the same time, we have Nick Whitlock with the pull. High edge, a lot of roll. Great with each other, a lot of experience, a lot of shared time on the field. And so it's all in good spirits. Great work by DogMay there, working around the WildCats defense. Chaining together passes without any issue at all, the way ultimate should be played. Chipping away at the defense until something opens up in the downfield space for these great power throws to put a long bomb up. We see it coming. Double coverage. Behind the disc, keeping it out of the hands of the DogMay receiver. Again, and a response back the other way. Finds the mighty Whitlock. What a cannon, double coverage. Whitlock putting the roof clashed. During pool play, the game ended 15-8. A timeout's been called. What a beautiful put there. A little bit of contact, a little bit of boxing out, trying to find position. Whitlock comes down with it. Puts it up. Fraser Fields. Puts a long shot up the far sideline. An almost uncontested half. Lee Yo, supported by Nick Whitlock. Puts one over the top, a high blade to Hoban. Comes out near sideline. Hogg goes a little early. Another half-second wait on that jump would have had it in bounds. DogMay with an opportunity to work back upfield. We're seeing a zone set up. Hogg, Whitlock, and Yo. Yo very agile. Hogg and Whitlock, large boys. Very solid, but Fraser puts the backhand up anyway. Hoban doing great work in that defensive space. Whitlock on the far sideline, puts one up to Yo, but there's an interception by DogMay. Hoping to close it out. The defense currently out of position, chipping away. DogMay threading one through. First few points by WildCats, putting them up on the board, has cooled a little as they are met by the fierce and fiery DogMay. The side from Canterbury, not willing to let the game go the same way it did previously when WildCats took them down 15-8 in pool play. Great work by the WildCats, targeting that far sideline. The hammer gets hand blocked. DogMay looking to work back upfield just south of the halfway point. Great laser beam up that far sideline. Massive hammer fake, trying to get the defense shifted, trying to get an offensive opportunity. Dave Sanders right in the red zone. Puts one through, a great. So a huge welcome to Caitlin Wood, who's joining me in the booth now. Caitlin, how are you going?
I'm going great, thanks. receivers, so they should be playing with a bit of a bigger game out here. Obviously, we can see that Wildcats has been using that as well to their advantage, so it will be tricky to see how they match up against that.
So Wildcats to come out on offense now. Haberfield winds it up and puts it back in the holster. DogMay coming down in a zone defense, establishing a cup around the disc, trying to prevent that downfield movement that the Wildcats are able to exploit so easily with their athleticism. We see Aldridge streaking deep, hammer across the field to Hoban. Connolly wanting to finish this one off.
And they're all taking safe options from here with a hammer to finish it. Looking good.
Massive threat and almost irresistible receiver to try and hit. Wildcats going up by 1. The score now 6-3. Still anyone's game. The game of Ultimate is never finished until the final point is scored. Liam Haberfield with a great over-the-top the field at the moment. Neil with the disc.
And that's a beautiful pull up there for Neil. It's floating wonderfully and heading right to that centre or back of the end zone.
A great pull, but the chase not quite enough on Wildcats to stop those first throws. DogMay able to establish some momentum early.
And it looks like DogMay's looking to work it right through that middle of the field.
Tom Fraser puts a big shot up. A bit of a hospital pass. There's a lot of players underneath. Brought down by 2 Wildcats defenders. Neil, a very, very strong handler in his own right, finds Whitlock.
You can see them looking for those big options, but really playing it safe with those swings right now.
Riley Van Turnhout providing support to Neil in that backfield space. Players with a lot of experience together through the marvelous DC team when they've worked together on mixed nationals over the last few years. 3 back-to-back wins. Lee Yo, near sideline.
Looks like they're giving those handlers quite a lot of space to move the disc. Really worried about that threat downfield.
So do you think rather than being close, tight on the mark there on those handlers, they're trying to give them a little bit more space to prevent those big shots going up because Wildcats have those long threats? They've
shown to have those long sets. They look like they're being quite conservative about their energy there.
So Lee Yo trying to move the disc around, finds Van Turnhout on the far sideline. A great up-the-line cut. But it doesn't come off quick. Chippy passes to reset those discs.
Lots of that horizontal movement seems to be working to their advantage, letting them find that space.
Whitlock finds it. Static, right in the red zone. Just a kind of high-level competitive play. We see so much movement.
You saw that opportunity where it's just really hard to outgrow Nick Whitlock in that moment.
He's not even moving, uncovered almost entirely. Big fakes. And then to a static, dead still, Riley Van Turn's showcase on the Taniwha side, on the Barbarian side, who pushed Taniwha incredibly well. What a great performance that was. Again, Tom Fraser, just a great, well-experienced handler.
And that pass there from Matt Furst to Mike Muldrew, they're both my flatmates. Let's go. And a great up-the-line catch by Tom Fraser. They're really working that little sideline movement right now. They could look for a nice swing to get that movement going.
Absolutely.
And there it is.
Maybe use some more of the width of the field rather than letting themselves get trapped on that far sideline.
And just like they've heard us, they've moved it around right in the middle there with Tony. And the hammer over the top to unmarked.
Seeing a lot of wind movement. And so those overhead throws, that dynamic big play ultimate that we've seen both of these teams put up is definitely available as an option. The first 2 days of the tournament, we see a lot more wind. There was a lot more small ball, very focused ultimate, maybe a lot more zone defense. This is going to be the one that walks away disappointed.
And there's a hard run down there by the DogMay team, looking to have that sort of junky style defense you can see there.
Absolutely.
Bit of a switchy play there.
So really trying to focus on taking away the space, targeting the space, and forcing them just to move. Mainly with a zone, looking to force as many passes as possible. Every pass is an opportunity for either a defense or a drop.
A very tricky zone to play with Joe Panaya on the field. He was a UC player. He knows this strategy like the back of his hand. He's got those break throws. He can move that disc very well, and you should see that the Wildcats team will capitalise his skills.
Absolutely. There's nothing, I think, that excites Joe Panaya Smith more than playing a zone offense, getting to make those chippy throws right through the middle, threading one through. Aldrich. Ooh. It's called down.
An excellent bid, but it does just...
Downfield, we see great cuts developing. Some switches called to try and cover.
And a great bid by Harry there.
Dave Sanders marked by Connolly. There's the crossfield hammer. Beautifully received.
And that's a beautiful put to Mike Muldrew there in the end zone.
Hour to go as our opens semi-final. Dave Sanders, what a beautiful shot.
To Mike Muldrew, who sent it up the line to Eric, who saw Mike Muldrew and just thought, I'll throw it back to him. Up the line, beautifully.
And that's exactly the kind of close.
With the Wildcats team being all of their top players, whereas the DogMay team having split their players across a little bit, two teams.
Absolutely. So most of the clubs, the larger clubs that have managed to field two teams for the open season have opted for an A-B split, stacking one team with all of their confident, more competitive players, and then having a second, possibly developmental squad. DogMax and DogMay instead opting to evenly split the two teams. Which is a great move in terms of making sure that all of their players are sharpened up as much as possible. All of the scrimmages they'd be playing against a very evenly matched team, it's going to keep them competitive. But it does make us wonder here in the booth how different this game and maybe the rest of the tournament might have been had DogMay decided to go for that more uneven split.
And we've got the Mike Muldrew on the mark. He's twice the size of Joe Panaya, who he's marking. One of those things there where the height can be a real advantage. And that's a beautiful hammer over the top.
But it does not stop Joe Panaya getting free, Mr. Consistent, despite the fact that he's now being pressured by that DogMay zone. Nothing stops him moving.
And you can see they're using that little handler movement to weave it up the line. This should be the way that they should get past those first defenders.
Upfield
and they've
hammer.
done it, and that's on.
Haberfield in power position. 5 Wildcats taking half in this, the open semi-final on day 3, the last day of the New Zealand mixed.
And that's the pool going up there. It's a beautiful big pool floating down, looking like hesitantly might be going, with Adam Chung initiating that first cut under.
Some great movement there by DogMay, hoping to work upfield just north of the halfway mark for them.
And you can see a lot of cycling in and out of that handler space there, with players unafraid of leaving one handler on the field.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's the kind of thing you only really see at this high-level ultimate. Players who are a lot more confident to just go big hammer from Tom Fraser.
And absolutely eaten by Nick Whitlock there.
Yeah. So at sort of beginner level and more sort of social elements, you typically see a greater split between the handler space, those disc confident players, and the cutters, those athletic, faster runners. At this high level, you don't see that same split to the same extent. There are definitely more confident throwers on the field, but any one of these players can put just about any throw up that they like. And so we are seeing a lot more cycling through on that offense as players can comfortably put discs just about anywhere they want. Nick Whitlock putting one up to Fitzpatrick Cockram, trying to start some great flow for the Wildcats side, but still able to close off with a beautiful OI forehand. So 9-5 now, Wildcats signal.
And a huge pull there, looking like it's going to land right in the middle of that end zone. Taken by Tony and moved quickly up the field. You can see a little bit of a zoney play there. More traditionally seen in yesterday's style of play. The Wildcats have put a little zoney look on DogMay, and we'll see how that influences their play style.
But that zone not stopping the overheads, and so there it is, the long shot. It's going to go clean out the back of the field. Mind that last time these two teams faced each other, it went 15-8 in favor of Wildcats. But it's still anyone's game.
And they're still looking at that junk style of defense that's going on right now. The players quickly switching between who's marking who. Now this sometimes works to the advantage, as it allows the team who is on defense to have a little bit more rest than the offensive team gets to have.
Absolutely. So the zone, they're focusing a lot of their players around those handlers, and it can be a hard slog in that chase space trying to keep in front of the disc, but if you're able to keep the disc back between those handlers, it allows your downfield defenders to maybe sit a little bit more static to catch their breath while the offense are constantly trying to chip away at your zone defense.
And it's a style based entirely on communication, and you can hear that sideline very loudly from where we are in the booth here, with DogMay's voices really, really being heard on the field.
Hogg to Whitlock. And he puts one through to Hogg anyway. Great way to close. And a quick score update from our other field in our other semi-final match. Groot 11 against the Hamatron Tawharimātias 6. These games slowly creeping away from DogMay and Hamatron.
You can really change the way that you play Frisbee. So it's really important that players stay rested during the game.
Absolutely, and the brain typically runs on glue.
Allowed them to take it up, looking like it's landed just slightly out of the field.
Riley Van Turnhout getting those big wings up, trying to stop that movement of the disc upfield, or downfield rather, not able to do it.
Oh, a great bid there.
Not enough to keep it in DogMay's hands.
And that's dirty.
Trying to make a great throw in motion is a difficult thing. And while these Wildcats and DogMay sides are great at doing that, sometimes under the pressure from the opposition, it's enough to shut that down. Again,
advantages in the zone is that you get to be lazy, but the offense can be lazy too.
And there's Neil,
the example of that.
With a high forehand. Haberfield with a big pull. Shooting long, but it's fielded well.
And that vertical stack movement there.
Gets a massive bite from Mike Connolly, but
unfortunately quite a low throw to Phil there. Very difficult catch for him. Huge mark. A great bit on that swing pass.
Van Turnhout, midfield.
A lot of people getting those under options free.
Just great offense by the Wildcats. We're seeing some really smart disc movement through the defense. Hoban.
And that's a beautiful put.
What a great Haberfield for the score as we go 12-5 now. Wildcats opening up. We'll see that again. Connolly putting one straight through. Quick continuation. Hoban, textbook form. We'll see it here. Look at that on the ultimate field.
And a huge pull from him there. Heading back right, rolling all the way out of the end zone. What a great pull.
And as one side, rather than targeting the field,
Adam Chung just doing the Moses right through the middle of the water.
A beautiful dead horse play. The split stack, great bid by Whitlock. generating the turn there. Fantastic play there. I'm a huge fan of it. Setting up that side stack, having most of the players going deep. So they'll typically poach off. They'll stand off a little bit on that deep side, giving the player a really easy under as Adam Chung pulled that one off almost flawlessly. But Wildcats have possession now.
And they're looking straight to bomb to the end zone to Nick Whitlock.
30 minutes left in the game before we hit soft cap, but it looks to be a race to 15 still. DogMay, a lot of work ahead of them if they want to put 10 more on the board before Wildcats put on 2.
And a big pull just by Joe Panaya there.
Just some fantastic defense, huge amounts of pressure from Wildcats, hoping to put this one away early, maybe giving themselves an opportunity to get a bit more rest before they go into the finals if the game decides to go that way. DogMay, on the other hand, hard work ahead of them. Not insurmountable. Puts the big shot up.
Huge shot to Chris Carr, but a little...
Great performance there, only 4 points in it. But again, we have a 13-5 match in our hands here.
And a bit of strong defense here by the DogMay team. You can see them tightly marking their players. And it's up. And a great D and an excellent recovery catch there.
Connolly picking up after Van Turnhout puts a low shot up. It gets touched by DogMay, but Connolly's able to keep it, puts one through. 10 minutes left on the clock. Wildcats only 1 break away from success. DogMay, their work cut out for them. Hoban.
And a beauty.
Still able to keep those spirits high, really defining the way that the sport of ultimate is played. Matt Furs wants to put a big shot up, but he's marked out by Whitlock. Great work there, getting around that defense. Targeting the far sideline now.
And there's some beautiful motion through that middle there, really capitalizing on when they get past that initial defense at the front. They're looking to swing to each other and use each player on the field. And a break throw that was beautifully up to that corner to Luke there.
Great bid by the defense trying to seal that space off, but not enough. DogMay.
This is the patience that they've been needing. It's looking very clean and safe.
Absolutely. Fraser now probably desperate to close this out. A great handler doing some fantastic work for the DogMay offense. That defensive pressure from the Wildcats really forcing some short disc movement. There's not a huge amount of movement that we're seeing in the disc.
Yes, this is where DogMay has a little bit of the advantage. A lot of these players have played together a lot, that having played both on the HMC side and potentially as uni students together, they have this chemistry between them. This is what they're good at, the small movement between each other.
And we see that there again, 3 passes in the space of only a couple of seconds.
And a beautiful catch.
You live in a Frisbee dynasty house, a real hotbed of Canterbury talent.
That's what it's looking like today out here on the field, absolutely.
Fantastic work by DogMay. 14-6 now. Wildcats to come out on offense, but again, just seeing that great work is Tony Scott. Tony's, and particularly on defense as well, does a great job of just shutting down any floating passes, any leading passes.
And the intensity is brought right back in as soon as the disc is live.
Hogg
a huge
streaking deep. Aldrich with the disc.
And again, sticking to that zony style defense.
Over the top of the scuba, finding Hoban, back to Haberfield.
And a huge hammer.
To Mike Connolly, just outside the zone, needing to finish off to Old. Great work by both of those teams, but for now, Wildcats can take themselves a break. 15-6